YouTube, what it do? It is your boy Benji, and we are back balling. If you're new, please don't forget to subscribe. LeBron James, Stephen A. This has been something that's been the topic of discussion for a while because the conversations revolving around LeBron James Jr. or Bronny James have been crazy. So I think that it's important that we finally got an opportunity to hear from LeBron James and what he thinks about this because Pat McAfee secured the interview of the year. Let's check it out.
You would be not to talk about that.
Are you kidding me? If there's one person that couldn't wait to the video to drop so you could address it, it's your ass. Like seriously, it's and like another, he completely like missed the whole point.
That's what I had to say, bro. Stephen A's crazy. There was a moment in time where you would think somebody pulling up on you who's 6'9", 250, telling you stop talking about my son, would lend you, especially somebody like Stephen A. Smith, somebody who was as smart as Stephen A. Smith, somebody, end of the day, you have to think introspectively. You're a reporter. To look and say, why would he feel like this? Why would he say that to me? Especially since all the comments that you made online were public. They were done on TV. They were done online. Brother, you can easily look at the things that you said and understand in context that they were crazy. Why were you begging this man as a father to remove his child from the league? You prefaced your whole conversation about his son by telling us that you didn't even watch him. But then you felt that it was so important to have multiple segments about this kid underperforming to your belief, to your standards, even though he was a kid who was drafted as a 55th pick. And you're critiquing him based on a couple minutes of garbage time. You felt like it was your opportunity to attack him and his daddy, but not for their play on the court. The play on the court was a guise to really attack LeBron James as an individual. But you were quick to call out that you were a victim.
Point. Never would I ever not allow people to talk about the sport, criticize players about what they do on the court. That is your job, to criticize or to, be in a position where, okay, if a guy's not performing, that is all part of the game. That's all part of the game. But when you take it and you get personal with it, it's my job to not only protect my damn household, but protect the players. And I think a lot of the media, including him, and I know he's gonna be happy as hell. He's gonna be smiling from ear to ear when he hears me talking about it again. Oh my God, he's gonna get home and grab some ice cream out of the fucking freezer and sit in his chair and his tighty whities on the couch.
I hope at some point you two do get a chance.
Like,
but you're right.
Dude, like relax, bro. Like relax. Like seriously. Yep.
Which leads.
And look at Pat was trying to, hey man, I hope you guys get together. Yeah, you would hope. You would think that like there wasn't some huge animosity between the two of them, but this dude did go on a huge tour. Multiple appearances on multiple media platforms talking about LeBron James. In a moment that lasted literally 8 seconds. Over something that you were wrong about. And for some reason tried to paint it as if LeBron James was in the wrong. That's crazy work coming from Stephen A. And you should have known that you were so badly in the wrong that this dude felt like he had to address you in the midst of a basketball game when they were losing. But instead of thinking about it and saying, could there have been anything that I did wrong? You had time to think about it. Instead, you prefaced everything following the altercation by saying, I wasn't going to talk about it, but I have people above me that beg me to talk. Sure. Could somebody have gotten his ear and said, look, brother, this is a great story and we would love to have your input on this? At the end of the day, I feel unsafe. I'm not talking about it. Again, that's why I say some people are just slaves to the dollar. If this dude signed a $100 million contract, a lot of y'all would say, nobody can tell me what to do if I have $100 million. But obviously, that is not how things work for Stephen A. Smith. Most people, when they're awarded a ridiculous amount of money, it doesn't matter whether it's $7.25 an hour or if you're talking hundreds of millions of dollars, they are slaves to the company that is in front of them. Because these people live in a world or even a country or a state that is ruled by capitalism, is ruled by some sense of ego, ruled by some sense of pride. Because you didn't have to talk about LeBron James, bruh. You didn't have to do that. You wanted to do that. And you knew that it was going to garner you a bunch of clicks on top of you getting a big contract. And look at these fools in the comments. Why did you go on McAfee and not First Take again? People saying he's ducking smoke. Exactly what Mike the Johnson said. Because Stephen A. Smith would benefit from the ratings. If he was ducking smoke, he would have confronted him face to face like he did. He did that already. But he knew that this was an opportunity for an 8-second conversation turn into this dude going on a rant and a tirade and a tour for a week and some change. Exactly. And yeah, a lot of people are letting this guy know. He said everything I wanted to say. He just said, stop talking about my son. Or stop effing talking about my son. And Stephen A. made a whole conflict out of nothing and really just used the opportunity to divulge information about LeBron James and get stuff off his chest because he felt like he finally had an opportunity to act like he wasn't friends with the dude. And now he could just drop ammo without a care in the world. Yeah, I thought it was interesting too, though, watching the full interview. Yeah, LeBron was just kicking it. It was orchestrated for sure.
Here's the problem with what LeBron James did.
This dude is just sick. He's sick.
It's still disrespectful.
Look at Mad Dog over there grinning. See, these dudes got wind of the conversation and immediately started talking about LeBron James before the joint had even dropped.
It's him, passive aggressively yet again, finding a way to take shots because inherently he has a problem with himself being compared to dudes from previous eras because folks talk about him. They talk about what he would have been. For example, he's not my GOAT. He's Shannon's GOAT. He might be yours or somebody else. He's not mine. Why do I say that? Because the road to prosperity that he had to travel, I believe going up against the old guard like Jordan and them, they would have stopped him before he learned how to win.
What the heck are you talking about? Like, what the heck are you talking about? Like, what?
I'm not talking about LeBron once he learned how to win. I'm talking about the
LeBron James, multi-year high school champion, once he learned how to win. The guy that got drafted to one of the worst teams in the NBA and had to learn how to take this team, a city that had never won anything in years, to the promised land. And actually made them a playoff, actually championship contending team early in his career. But he had to learn how to win. Just foolishness.
If you got to go up against a killer like Michael Jordan and others who would try to snatch your heart right out of your chest, I believe somebody like Jordan would have impeded his path. Nobody was going to impede Kobe. Nobody was going to impede MJ. Nobody was going to impede Duncan and people like that. But
bro, is it his fault that he was born the year that he was born? What the heck are you saying? This dude lasted through multiple... Like, bro, 20 plus years in the NBA. But y'all gonna swear up and down that this dude would not have been able to adapt his game to any other prior generation of basketball. Like, this is why I just get... I understand exactly where LeBron James is coming from. Because this conversation is not rooted in anything factual. You're literally just hating. That's all it is. I'm sure that, hey, maybe one day I'll get there too. Whoa, when you have such a emotional connection to something, no matter what anybody else tells you down the line, you're going to deem it as untrue. You're not going to want to hear it out. Simply put, these guys have a connection with Michael Jordan because maybe watching Michael Jordan helped them get closer as a family. Maybe checking out the Bulls games or wearing just sneakers helped them find friends and people that like similar activity. Like there's a lot of emotional connections to them checking out basketball and watching the prosperity of basketball at the time that Jordan played. That they feel like they have to continue to talk about this guy in the same light as Jordan. When, again, the point is missed. When LeBron James was talking about give everybody their flowers, but in the end of the day, there's an evolution that had to happen in the game. Just like in anything else in life, things will get better, people will get better, and people will have to adapt. This is all a conversation about LeBron speaking, like, just verbosely about Giannis Antetokounmpo, just saying, oh, y'all, would y'all think that this guy who's a 0.0 body fat dude that's 7 foot tall, can handle, can take it to the rim, was looking to dunk on you every single time, diving on the floor, blocking shots, can guard every position on the court. Y'all saying this guy would not be able to play? Brothers and sisters, when there were guys that were 6'7" and taller that were handling the ball, they were putting the best defenders in the NBA on their behind. Obviously, somebody like Giannis is in a game right now where it's the most skilled as it's ever been. There is no match for Giannis. So you would tell me that the guys who, during that era, were only taught to stay under the basket and protect the rim will be able to do anything with him? It was just a joke, and these dudes are really having a whole segment about it.
I believe he would have been impeded, which is why I have Jordan there.
So you literally just mentioned that nobody would impede Jordan, Kobe, and Tim Duncan on their path to being the players that they were. But you're having a conversation in which you believe that LeBron James is a number 2, as opposed to the guys that played in these eras that you're talking about that couldn't have been impeded. Does that even make sense, guys?
What would we have been if it were not for Stuart Scott? What would we have been, Doggy, if it were not for the Dick Vitales? What would we have been if we didn't have somebody like a Howard Cosell to...
So Stephen A is going down the route of saying, since there was no Giannis, the only reason that Giannis exists today is because of the guys that came before him that began to push the envelope to allow somebody like him to exist. Sure, obviously. But again, LeBron James was making a point about people saying that LeBron James, who y'all are saying is the second best player of all time, all y'all up here are trying to at least admit that LeBron James is the second best player of all time, would not be able to play in the 90s. That doesn't even make sense. How can he be the second best player of all time, but y'all saying he can't play in the 90s? Or the 80s? Or the 70s? That's crazy.
Seen Bill Walton play? Did you see him in the 70s? Did you see his hops? Did you see his mobility? Did you see his athleticism before his feet gave way? Bill Walton was something special. And so I'm just saying that when you allude to the previous, it's sprinkled with resentment because you hate the fact that people are able to point to a previous era and talk about what you're not.
Ridiculous, dude. Why is it so disrespectful to say someone would dominate in the past era by saying someone in the past would dominate now? Is okay. Like, it makes zero sense. Makes no sense. It's literally just a hypothetical. Sprinkled in with a little joke. Why do we act like Jordan's career was 6 years? See, I'll come on TV and say Jordan would add 50 today, and that's not disrespectful. They don't know what they're talking about. I cannot understand how somebody who y'all view to be at least on the Mount Rushmore of basketball, out of the same mouth, you can say that this person would not be able to play in another generation. Then how can they be on the Mount Rushmore of basketball if they wouldn't even be able to survive with other players that are good as well? That doesn't make any sense. That makes zero sense. And if we acknowledge evolution in the game, if LeBron James is playing up until this moment, the generation of the most skilled people and surpassing, excelling, then why can we say that the generations prior who didn't have access to the same technology or equipment or skill development, if LeBron James would take himself, 6'9", 250 pounds worth of that, point forward ability, 40-inch vertical, etc., and go play, they wouldn't succeed. Don't get it. Doesn't make sense. And again, these guys that are covering the sports don't know what they're talking about.